So a quick outline of what we're going to be talking about today. The real world presents us with a lot of complex social technical systems, and those systems, because of their complexity, prevent what we would call mechanistic control. When it comes to team sports, it's also a complex system where you can't control the individual behavior of the players, but of course their interactions are crucial to form some kind of team structure and have some kind of success. And so the question becomes, how do you select the correct or the best players to play in a certain team so that they have some kind of structure and hopefully have some kind of success? What's currently used in the literature and in performance analysis are what we would call weighted directed graphs. If the vertices in our graph would be the players themselves on the field, whether those players are passing to each other would form edges in the graph. And those edges would be directed because, of course, if player 1 passes to player 2, that's distinct from player 2 passing to player 1. And they're weighted. The weight simply reflects the number of passes being played between the players. And the whole point of this is so that you can exploit these graph properties like density, distribution, and clustering to give us some kind of sense of the tactical approach of the team. So just very briefly, density might tell you the number of connections being made within the team, distribution, how evenly distributed is the passing, and clustering might stylistically describe, okay, are these passes being formed in triangles or cycles or in chains? Graphs only capture pairwise or dyadic relations. So if we look at the figure on the right, essentially what we have is we have a trio of players, and the ball is flowing freely between these players, but the graph only sees the ball goes from A to B, and B to C, and then C to A, and doesn't really see that these trio of players have actually formed a unit on the field. This is a severe limitation because in team play and soccer, these tactical units like a pass triangle or possibly a pass diamond are very important in terms of the overall tactical approach of the team. And so how we solve this is we use a higher order network structure, which would be a simplex or a simplicial complex. Again, we have our set of pairs on the field, and then those pairs form connections, which we store in our adjacency matrix. And so we would call a simplex of players just a subset of the players who are all mutually connected to each other. Okay? This would also be called maybe a clique complex of the graph. All we've done is we've taken that graph, we've abstracted it to a higher dimension so that we can capture these higher dimensional structures within our team. Now you're not representing these sets or cliques of players as individual players, but actual units. You can actually collapse the entire simplex into a single vertex and create a graph of these vertices, which we call the Q graph. And so the vertices are, again, the actual simplices and cliques of players, and then the edges formed in this graph would be the Q connectivity between those simplices. And so, again, from the contextual standpoint, what this would imply is the ease or the ability for the ball to move across different sets of players would be captured by this Q transmission. Now, why is this not enough? Why do we have to go beyond simplicial complexes? The thing is, it's important to realize that we've only found some kind of optimal player assignment and a non-optimal player configuration for our team. Player assignments of what we call a 4-3-3. So 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, 3 attackers. However, these assignments are placed into different configurations. And you can see visually how the shape is significantly different between the configurations, which would result in a significantly different tactical approach. The simplicial complex doesn't actually allow us to represent those configurations, and so it doesn't really allow us to specify precise tactical roles for players within our team or field positions within our team. We abstract our structure a bit further, and we use what's called a hyper-simplex and Hypernetworks. Well, we keep the simplex that we just formed, we order the elements in the simplex, and then we append what we call an explicit end-area relation onto the elements in that simplex. So again, in the context of our players on the field, well, we have already those simplices which represent the cliques in the team, and now we're just, the relation we're appending is, okay, where are these players actually on the field? And in the hypernetwork is, okay, we just take all these hypersimplices we've created, we put them together, and we get our hypernetwork. That's really important for us because it provides a precise and a concrete way of distinguishing between levels within the team. When the ball moves, well, of course, it's moving among players at the same time, simultaneously, it's moving among the cliques. At the same time, it's moving somehow among the team, and so there's this traffic that's happening on multiple layers throughout our system. Backcloth is just a term that refers to the infrastructure of a system that very slowly and permits or restricts but does not require traffic. So players might be the backcloth in our team, which permits or restrict ball movement, but of course the players don't need the ball to exist on the field. Right? I want to actually design a backcloth or synthesize our system. That's really the power of using our model. Right? And so to do this, again, we looked at 7 matches, from a professional side in the Portuguese First Division. Essentially, want to synthesize a new backdrop for the team, which again optimizes the traffic and maintains their style of play. We also see how these design elements have actually filtered through onto what we might see on the pitch. So there are these two channels of players along the wide areas of the pitch, and they're connected by that central player in the middle, who would be the midfield pivot. Inverted triangles forming on the team. See how this cue transmission occurs. Instead of occurring through the midfield pivot, they actually occur through the wide areas of the pitch. Backlog synthesis is neat in that it allows us to synthesize a structure in whatever desirable fashion we want. So we can actually design the infrastructure of our team so it behaves in a desirable fashion and in an optimized way.